Hello there. In this video, we're going to discuss the column function. The column function, just as its name says, the column function will return to you the column number. Okay, so let's take a look exactly how this plays out. If we start off with the equal sign followed by column, and let's just say I've referenced this cell here, C3, what I should expect is a number 3 because column C is the third column. Could do the same thing, but rather than pick this row, we could pick row D1 or cell D1, and what we should expect is 4 because D is located in the fourth column. Okay, so it's very, very straightforward. The column function will return the column number. Now, how do we apply that? Well, take a look here. This is something that might look familiar to you because we have this particular data set in our VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP videos. Now, what we want to show you right now is how we can apply the column function. And I'm going to do that within the VLOOKUP function. All right, what do we mean by that? Well, let's see here. What we have here in column A are people's names, and we have what they each ate for lunch from Monday through Friday. Now, if we want to ask the question, what did, say, Bob eat for lunch on Wednesday? Let's say you have to fill this table out. Again, rather than manually looking for Bob and pinpointing the Wednesday and finding its soup and putting it here, we can use a formula. And in this case, we're going to use the VLOOKUP formula. In addition, we're also going to incorporate the column function within the broader VLOOKUP formula. Okay, so let's take a look at how this works. We're going to start off with the equal sign followed by the VLOOKUP. Now, our search entity is Bob, and we're going to use the cell reference H2 because we're going to be copying this formula down. And so if that's the case, we want to make cell H2, we want to add an absolute reference to column H. So we incorporate the $sign. Again, feel free to review our video on absolute and relative reference. So now that we have H2, the search entity set up, the next argument within the VLOOKUP function is the data set. And in this case, we want our data set to be columns A through F. Reason being is we could have many names going down column A and all their lunch options extending to F. And so I want the entire data set to be captured, which will be within columns A through F. And again, for good practice, this data set's not going to change, so I'm going to make these absolute references. So $signs in front of A and F. Okay, now the third argument now is going to be our column number, and in this case we're going to use the column function. So rather than looking here and we see it's Wednesday and noting that Wednesday is located in the fourth column and inserting the number 4, I'm going to use the column function. And so I type in column and I'm going to include D1, and so I know that column D1 will return to me 4, which is exactly the output that I want for this particular argument. And finally, the last argument, I'm going to include the word false because I want this formula to reference Bob and to find the exact match of Bob within the data set. Okay, so now I can click enter, and what I should expect is the proper output, which is soup. And if we want to double check our results, we can look down here, find Bob, and take a look at what he ate on Wednesday. And indeed, he did have soup on Wednesday. So we set up that formula correctly using the column function within the larger VLOOKUP function. Perfect. Now, great thing is we've got the formula set up, we've got the references set up. We can simply copy this formula and drag it down, and we should expect the correct response to come up for Abe. And if you take a look down here, we can scroll down, find Abe down here, and take a look. And yes, indeed, on Wednesday, Abe did have falafels for lunch. Okay, so quick quick summary here. Column returns the column number, and the great thing is you can incorporate that within other formulas, and in this case, you saw an example of how we can use the column function within the VLOOKUP formula. Okay, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.